but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Sitting in a 4v3.
From Esports, trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. They're gonna take flag. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga4 is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Hello everyone, welcome to North America. Some people are going to be super glad to be on this side of the pond. I, for one, am going to be absolutely devastated. But the only thing that's going to devastate here is the action between both of these teams in the Masters tier. I am Egter, joined by Shadowfang today, ready to run you through Low Ground Main versus Fellowship Esports in the upper bracket. So both of these teams are feeling good. They're riding high. They got a strong win at the start of the bracket, and they're still going to run it through. It's time to see who can make their mark in this tournament and keep themselves on top, and then who's going to get sent down to low bracket and have to start fighting for their lives. How are we feeling about this match, Shadow?
I honestly, I think it's going to be a pretty competitive match. I don't believe these two teams have played each other yet this season, from what I could tell. And they're relatively close in the standings, if memory serves me properly. So, and both of them just kind of really dominated their first round matchups. So it should be a really competitive match here today.
Before we get into talking about this matchup, we do want to show you a couple of things that CGL have been cooking behind the scenes. This is your last opportunity. So looking at the deadline there, you're cutting it pretty close. But the Kunoichi Cavalry is this weekend. Diamond Masters and Open Tier signups are going to still be open for today, but I think they're going to be closing very, very soon. So if you're interested, if you want to get a team together, whether you're from only North America, as you do, console or PC, you want to take part, compete for a team. Be sure to go to the Discord link found below, CGL Discord, and get yourself in there. It should be an absolutely spectacular tournament to run through. But that's not all that we have cooking. Mr. Ram has been very busy behind the scenes. Copa America premiering on May 16th. It's going to be the best of the best from the South American region. 3-language broadcast: Peru, Brazil, Chile, and Argentina. South America isn't a region that gets a lot of love in the Overwatch community as a whole, so something like this is going to be spectacular. Let those teams and that talent put their best feet forward. So that's going to premiere on May 16th. Hope we're all looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Anytime we can get more shine for those South American teams, it's always a good thing. Because, I mean, like you said, they only really get to show their stuff around, like, Overwatch World Cup time. So giving them a competition like that where we can showcase more of that talent, maybe get them noticed a little bit more, it would be really, really good to see.
We do also want to give you a quick rundown of the schedule for today's matches. Low Ground Main versus Fellowship Esports going to be opening it up off the rip at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Not for me, we're looking more 1 a.m., but who's counting? And then once that match is over at 9:30, Team Can't Climb versus Team Vex. I'm unsure why the Team Can't Climb. I don't know if they mean like physically climb like a mountain or climb out of their rank, but both of them are applicable, you know.
I really hope it's the first one. Like they all just went to like one of those rock climbing gyms together and just couldn't get past the first wall, and they were like, "This has got to be our team."
Yeah, that's going to be an NA Open game as well. So high tier talent, some of the best that's going to be on display. Speaking of best of the best, as we said, both of these teams have been very dominant in this upper bracket for the time being. Of course, both going to be knocking Logo Main knocking out Shoes production crew. A couple of people that we might be familiar with, but we don't. Yeah. I don't respect them. I don't respect like casters or producers or anything like that. Do you?
I mean, you know, who does really? If we're being totally honest right now, you know, it's kind of a common sentiment across all of CGL inside the staff room. So
yeah, and clearly they don't know how to play the game because they've been knocked out by Silver Clovers as well. But no, both of these teams obviously got off to a very good start in the winners round. So going to be looking at them to make their mark here to progress themselves further and further into the bracket. We do have our first map up and ready, Lijiang Tower between both of these teams. Hero bands are on the field. Are there any bands that you might be expecting to see on this map? Any styles that might want to be denied? Or do you think these teams, maybe they just don't really mind, that they're willing to the flow a little bit?
You know, it really depends on personal preference. I always say I think map 1 is a personal preference map. You know, if you want to force a particular playstyle, you can do that just by banning something that you don't even necessarily know is going to be played. I think something like Pharah is a really viable ban here if you know the other team is at least somewhat decent at Pharah, because I mean Lijiang Tower is a Pharah style map. Or if you even want to protect that yourself, you can ban out a separate DPS, you know, protect that thing from getting banned out. But with Lijiang, I imagine you're going to want to just play like a grouped up, just rush style composition. So there's a lot of things that can be open here to ban, but Pharah was something that just popped into my head immediately.
Pharah is unique. Can play pretty decently on, well, I mean, somewhat decently on every point. Control Center, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Having that low ceiling sucks for you. But yeah, you get onto Night Market, you get onto Gardens. Yeah, you're feeling pretty good about that pick. It is a personal preference thing. Of course, bans are not just a competitive thing anymore, but they have been introduced into Overwatch for good as well in competitive. And it's been very entertaining seeing Moira, Mercy, and Weaver get banned every single game. Unfortunately, these teams can only ban the one. So
You mentioned the bans that were happening in the actual game. There's another one that always comes out, Sombra. People generally don't like playing Sombra, so there it is, a personal preference thing. I don't think Sombra is like a really dominant pick or anything like that right now, but people don't like playing against that hero, so let's just
I'm just the opinion that Sombra players don't have souls. But banning the Sombra does indicate that Sombra, her niche isn't great anymore. She's not like the best backline assassin, and she's not the best like hack the tank denier either. You know, there are other characters that can bully a tank more effectively. There are other characters that can assassinate the backline more effectively. So Sombra being banned kind of makes sense if you just think that's an obnoxious style. Hazard also going to be banned from First Shape Esports. Not really a pick that I expect to see on this map, necessarily in favor of something like a Rissa or a Matra, but it's still pretty good. It still kind of eliminates the threat of the Hazard. I think on the more open points, the Hazard isn't necessarily great, but on something like a Control Center, I mean, the wall can kind of just perfectly obstruct the enemy team when you're playing through a white room. The leap is always going to be good. Recently got a buff to his off-the-top perk as well. Before, that would only deal 30% more damage to kind of high HP, like tanky targets. Now it deals an extra 50% HP, so can be a bit of a tank shredder if you let him be, with that close-range shotgun, with that off-the-top slash, but not going to be something considered at all. As we look towards our starting lineups today, low ground main, on the one side, they've been putting in, but both these teams have been putting in utter dominance for the time being, right? Predkind, high quality, Zeteriaki, and Saucer. Trust me, Zeteriaki was we got a pronunciation for that one, which I'm very glad about. Who all, interestingly enough, all of them say their favorite hero is Torb, except for Pred, who says their favorite hero is Ramatra.
Yeah. So I hope one of them plays Torb here. I think Torb is still solid enough to actually lock, but we'll see if they roll with that or if they're just kind of memeing on us here. I mean, they're literally called low ground main, so they got jokes for days apparently. But on the other side, we've got Fellowship Esports as their opponents, and we're going to have 69-97 on that DPS line with Gomeni. Then we got Wolfie 50 on that tank with Tempt Me Not and Rambo on that support line. And again, another strong team. Like I said before, these teams finished relatively close in the standings, so I expect a really strong performance here tonight. And yeah. I mean, I'm not too sure what they're thinking to play on this first map, though. I feel like Lijiang is such a good brawl map, but there is, I guess, some potential for that Wrecking Ball to come out. But I guess we'll just have to see.
I was going to say, for reference, everyone on Fellowship Esports has a Wrecking Ball player icon. And, like, game recognizes game. I respect you for that. Ball is... I mean, it works on some of these points in the same way that, if you wanted to eat soup, you could use a fork. It'll take you a while. It'll be tricky. The spoon's right there. It'd be the far better option. But it's certainly doable. Interesting enough, on Fellowship Esports, Tempt Me Not is an extremely flexible player. Has played all 3 roles for the team at one point. Unlike a player like Rambo, who is just an unadulterated Lucio one-trick. So we're seeing Lucio. Or at the very least, Juno. But anything with speed, I think. Anything that can make you go fast into the enemy backline. And yeah, there we see it. Fellowship Esports. Ramatra, Lucio, Kiri style. The aim of the game is this. Get on the enemy, get on them fast. You don't have a lot of healing, but you make up for it in raw speed, raw utility, Suzu, and just overwhelming damage and dive pressure.
If low ground main actually does come out on what I'm seeing right now, this is going to be tough. Okay, so we're seeing actually a D.Va composition for the side of low ground main going up against this Ramatra-based composition. And there's the Pharah actually coming out from Kind. I think it's gonna be relatively tough to deal with if they're getting the amount of healing that they need to live on this Pharah.
Yeah, really like the Pharah here. There's nothing on Fellowship Esports that can immediately circumvent that. Your best bet is just try and go for a quick engage. It's got to be Pred, the target that can be caught out, but you have so much protection. You have a Matrix, you have a Suzu, a whole lot of things that can assist, and high ground main just going to farm themselves on the point. They can easy initial first cap, and they're feeling pretty good. Kind, however, you've got to be a little careful. You've only got so much cover up here. Now things get a little dicey on the corner instead. Fellowship Esports able to get themselves onto the point. Kind ends up removing themselves from the fight. Well, that's a pretty Kind play up here for the enemy team at the very least. More high quality, tanks it up, and is able to get the pick on the other side as well. Genji's falling lower and lower and lower, and eventually low enough to be felled here. Rambo, time to differential onto their opposite number. It's really chaotic on the point right now. It's just Ramatra. You've got to land these Fists of Fury. Wolfie's feeling pretty damn furious today, and so there's going to be a flip over towards Fellowship.
I mean, if I'm being honest here, if you're low ground main, you're really happy with how that just went. You didn't really win that fight at any point. You gained 36%, so like that's super solid. Kind has this barrage online and ready right before Rambo has this sound barrier available. If you can push this really very quickly, you might be able to catch Rambo off guard before they get this sound barrier off.
He's naming the game, and I keep looking at Rambo's HP thinking, oh, please don't Ajax. Fellowship Esports really struggling to sustain themselves. So Barrage did come through there from Kind. Just zoning ultimate. That's completely fine. Both of the castles have been traded out, but they're still continuing rushing into work. The later one going to be used for high ground main on the other hand, which is going to be really good for them and really good for Kind, who's able to work around the back of the point. And it was that later ult that made all the difference.
No, absolutely. They're doing a great job of just clearing this point off now. We're going to see the remech come in. And Gomeni dying to the bomb. probably intentionally just to not feed any more ult charge, so honestly kind of smart. It costs low ground main 4 ultimates there, but you do manage to save the sound barrier if you're Saucer, and you're going to need it to deny this Blade and Annihilation that are coming in from Fellowship.
Yeah, but that's got to be a picture-perfect sound barrier, right? Both the ults are extremely strong, team-wiping ults by themselves, but you need to be alive for it. Nasuzu's come out from Tempt Me Not, and X has just gone down before the fight's even begun. Fellowship, they do have the tools to work with, but it feels like they've gifted that fight with on a silver platter. Now they're ulting. 3v5 situation, making a 3v3. Kameni's doing well, slashing the sky once, but slashing absolutely nothing out of there. And unfortunately, Kind has to retreat to the rest of the team, but Fellowship burn their ults, but they're able to get the point at the very least.
I'm really not sure why the sound barrier didn't come out there from Saucer at any point. I guess now at least you have it to use as an engage tool, so you guys can just aggressively sound barrier into this fight. I would assume that's what you're going to do if you're low ground main. They don't really have any ultimates for you to focus on with that ult.
Ooh, Wolfie, you're sitting on the front line for a long time, taking so much damage, and there's just more health on the other side. They're looking a lot healthier right now, and much like I see that's happened, Fellowship are being routed and dead and sent back all the way to the spawn room. You still have a barrage unlocked for Kind too.
You do have that barrage online. You're getting relatively close to that Kitsune Rush too. I think that's going to be really important to get that Kitsune Rush online in this mid-fight to really secure and close out this map. This barrage has to be big time. You just got to catch somebody with it if you're Kind. Just one person is going to be enough, I think, to really secure this map.
Oh, the ult used! The dodging is spectacular though! Fellowship Esports able to live, and they use a sound barrier, but they use it on the rotation. How much damage you're able to use to overwhelm? High quality is falling a little low. And Kitsune Rush is there to clear the point, but High Ground may end up losing it despite the use of the Kitsu Rush. Now Fellowship have their own, and they're able to just use it to reinforce their position, and that's exactly what they're going to do. There's 10% left on the point. Fighting is not an option that you have. The time is a tool in Overwatch, but that is not a tool that you can work with it if you're High Ground main. Another tool that you're not going to have is your Cass. You're not going to have that 6-shooter on your side. Desperation Bomb at the final hour somehow catches Rambo out of the fight. There's an opportunity to turn here. You can never, make a mountain out of a molehill. That seems like exactly what could be happening, because High Quality has felt both supports in the fight, and now Teriyaki has gotten back in to the equation as well, taken their own cast out of the fight. It's just how is this happening? What? Wait. High Ground main retake that? You are kidding me.
I mean, I got to shout out High Quality right now for getting both of those support kills early in that last fight. That really is what just caused that to happen. High Quality managing to kill both supports for Fellowship is entirely what just made that flip just happen. I cannot believe Fellowship's got to be killing themselves right now, because that is an awful way to lose it. I mean, my goodness. What supreme diva play, though, from High Quality to finish that map off.
A diva can kind of go under the radar, because, from the mid-distance, she's basically just a fly, tickling you, because Matrix is more of an annoyance most of the time than it is, a high-value tool. Sometimes, a diva gets low, and then you just kind of forget about him, right? Yeah. High Quality has also picked up the Heavy Rockets perk, which also makes that, last-minute sudden assassination pressure a bit better. I don't personally think it's the better perk, but it definitely got the value in that last fight, and that's what it's all about.
No, absolutely. That momentary just extra damage was so much right there. Now here we are just in the mid-fight. Once again, Pred getting that railgun shot off, though. Nice shot from Pred.
Yeah. Take 1x out of the equation, and you're left with a 4v5 here. Not great on the numbers here. Wolfie also going to get traded out. High Ground main, but very clean on that first point. They've swapped over to the Sojourn. They paid dividends very quickly, and then it was all D wrong cleanup.
No, absolutely. You're seeing that difference immediately, because especially in super competitive games like this, one kill is all you need a lot of the time. You get that one kill, and you are able to just immediately press that advantage, and you saw High Quality immediately getting 3 kills on that diva right behind that rail shot. No ultimates online just yet, though, so we're going to have another dry fight here.
Yeah, and Fellowship firmly put themselves on the point. Suzu's been used quite early, and X, you got to be so careful. The Cass is surprisingly such a glass cannon in this comp. You think the 275 HP, the roll, he's self-sufficient, but come. Gameni says, fine, I'll do it myself. If my hit scan ain't alive, I'm going to take the Pharah out of the sky. Unfortunately, the kill is all style and no substance.
No, absolutely. And then just look at this ult discrepancy right now. Rambo has the sound barrier online, but if you're low ground main is probably going to have all 5 of these ultimates by the time the next fight is really happening. You can probably just engage with Kitsune Rush, and that might be enough.
I ain't a mathematician, but 5 is bigger than 3 last time I checked. Now, yeah, it is all the kitchen sinks that's being thrown here, and it actually favors Fellowship, despite not having such an advantage. And Fred has invested the overclock as well, and a barrage kind! There is nothing kind about that play, young man. What the hell was that? 5 for the lads. That is crazy work.
Speaking of 5, that's how many ults got used by low ground main there as well. So, like you said, the whole kitchen sink came out, but you're 87% to capturing this point, so you don't care. But you are going to have to deal with this Blade and Annihilation.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there is interest being paid on Fellowship's ult economy right now. They're able to invest in 2 strong ults and just take the point pretty cleanly. High ground main, going to have to do a little more to hold on here.
I mean, 99-0, you're pretty happy with that if you're low ground main. You have more than enough time to rebuild all 5 of those ultimates again before anything happens. We're going to see 69-97, relatively close to getting this Sojourn overclock online. But other than that, not really much available for either team just yet.
Yeah, the Fellowship did make the swap over to the Trojan. It struggles a little bit into the D.Va, who can just absorb like most of your impact with that Matrix. That being said, high quality, you can't just sit in front of a Marcher forever. Guys got fists. Those fists are going to go through any day of the week. Instead, you force them to get a little kind of scared. You force them to back up to the point, things get a little creative, and Kind, once more, has been on point with these barrages. It's only the one there. Fellowship realize that things are dire for them. They have to pop the sound barrier. High ground main don't have one of their own to respond, but what they made lack in HP, they make up for in raw numbers and bodies on the point.
And I mean, there you go. They managed to get that 1 kill with the barrage. And no touch comes in. That's going to be map number 1 going to low ground main. And they, honestly, pretty dominant fashion, at least on map number 2. Map number 1 was like a hard flip for them, but they seem to kind of just carry that momentum into map 2. And Kind just popping off on this Pharah. Yeah, I called that before we started map number 1. This is a really good Pharah map, and it really showed itself. Oh, that is a disgusting ultimate.
Dude, that like imploding concussive mind to bring every hug instead of a hug, blow everyone to smithereens with, you know, rocket. Probably the worst way to be.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. There are much better ways for that to go down. And it's kind of like a mini grab, too, in a sense. Like, you could probably combo other stuff with it in that sense. It's a really strong ability, and Pharah just doing all this splash damage is absolutely insane. Honestly, if you're Fellowship, you probably just want to pick a map where Pharah is just not viable at all for the next map.
Easier said than done, right? If you recall Labda in Stockholm, when he played for Twisted Minds, like that kid was freakish. Every single map with the Pharah, just like non-stop. So it's going to be difficult to try and just pick a map and say, okay, well, we're just not going to let them play Pharah here. Because no. That being said, you still have the Pharah ban in your back pocket, and you can always ban things that assist the Pharah. I say that ban things that assist the Pharah, but Pharah can play pretty self-sufficiently now. It's not like you're running like a Winston or a D.Va or anything. You're running a Ram, bro. Yeah, but you stayed on Ram the whole time. It's not like the Pharah was getting much help. It was just kind doing ridiculous things. But Fellowship, they showed a couple signs of life, mostly because low ground main did kind of beef their ultimates on several different occasions, and Fellowship would at the very least take advantage of that. Remember that first point? Like that should have been Fellowship all the way. Like there is no way in hell low ground main actually.
No, absolutely. As soon as Kine didn't get a kill on that barrage on point number 1, I was like certain. I was certain Fellowship was going to take it. And then they just they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, as I like to say. So it was a close one there. But with that being said, I mean, you got picks. If you're Fellowship here, you can pick any map from the pool, except for Control, obviously. So you can pick any of our hybrid maps, Flashpoint, Push, or Escort, any one of them. And that is an interesting pick for sure. I can't say I expected that one, but I don't think this is a particularly good Pharah map in particular. We're going to go to New Junk City here as our second map up. I feel like people almost exclusively pick Saravasa, so I'm always happy to see New Junk City come out.
New Junk City is like dog water fire map in the game. So that does make sense as to exactly why you pick it. You can also get a little tactical with it, because like it's clear that you show with the Pharah, if you're not willing to play the Diva style to counter it, and I say it's like it's a bad thing, it's going to completely wreck a Pharah's day. Yeah, you might as well have one map where that just isn't playable, and then when they force a map where it is playable, then ban it. So, okay, cool. So this is their comfort pick, and now we've had 2 maps on the trot where for some reason or another they can't play it. Now, something tells me that they'll just play it anyway because, it's love of the game. And Fellowship Esports, they do have some... Fellowship Esports do have some strong management on their side. They have a little Lucio looking into this game, who is the org owner, a retired American manager, actually, who last worked for Amplify in Contenders back in 2023. Yeah. So, I mean, you've at least got the leadership on the team to make something happen. But now you just need to, get the results and land your shots. Tracer going to be the first ban on the side of Fellowship.
That is definitely an interesting pick. We didn't see anything that would lead me to believe Low Ground Main is going to play a Tracer here, but maybe they're expecting a Wrecking Ball style composition and you just don't want to deal with the Tracer along with the ball. But with that now being said, if Low Ground Main is going to go for a more divey style composition, they could potentially ban something like a Lucio, if they don't want to play Lucio themselves. They're going to ban the Kiriko, though, so the other half of the tandem, if you will.
Kiri's weird, man. Lucio Kiri seems to be... If you're running a Kiri, Lucio Kiri is the dominant backline, but you also have flexibility to run her in like a double flex style with, say, a Juno or an Ana.
Yeah.
That basically sacrifice ability at the cost of more general healing, general utility, just knowing that you're probably going to get farmed on repeat. You ban out 2 characters which enable a high-tempo, high-pressure style quite well. I'm thinking that without a Kiri... I see, Kiri and Tracer ban, and I think Ana. That would be the easiest play. You're not on your... Kiri isn't there to cleanse the anti-nades. That becomes a really strong cooldown for you. At the same time, it's New Junk City. This this ain't an Ana map, little bro. This ain't Kings Row. This ain't Dorado. You will struggle.
Well, we are seeing Lil Lucio come in on that tank. I can't help but notice that their picture there is of Junker Queen, and I feel like Rampage is just absolutely insane when Kiriko is not on the table and available to be played. So I almost wonder if they're gonna try and run some sort of oh, never mind. That's a random hero on there. That is not is not potentially a Junker Queen.
You say that,
we could still see a Queen comp though.
This is Junker Queen's home turf, okay? And even though it just isn't the case, I do like the idea that heroes get buffs if they're at home, Like Queen is more powerful on New Junk City. Same with Hog and Junk. Trace is better on Kings. Ash and Cass are better on Route 66. That kind of vibe, Is it a silly vibe which would mess up the balance of the game? Yeah, absolutely. But let me dream. Let me dream.
What about Winston and Hammond? What map are they going to be good on?
Horizon Land. Oh, wait a minute. I guess they just suck.
Yeah, they never get their buff. Along with whoever's from Paris. Whoever's from Paris, you never get a buff either.
Juno as well. Juno's going to struggle because Mars is not a map in the game.
Yet. Give it time. Give it time. But looking here, Fellowship looks like they're going to go for this... Looks like they're going to go for the Sombra Reaper Winston playstyle. Very reminiscent to like an old Overwatch 1 comp that we used to see with a Winston Diva dive. Then low ground main going for this Juno Brig backline with, we do see a Torb coming out from Kind. I'm super excited to see the Torb, so let's see what they can do with it.
I got nothing. I got nothing with these comps. I can assume is like Fellowship just kind of want to... Fellowship can benefit from just sort of barrel stuffing the choke, but you're playing Winston, so you can't really do that. You're just going to get bullied out by the Diva. And also, speaking of Diva, excellent way to deal with the Sombra. It's so often particularly tricky for tanks to deal with, but in this case, the Luso jumps on through, able to get the impact done. And giving your life for the cause, still very much worth it, because the members of High Ground Main, I say they're not doing good, but this Brig has just killed 2, and that could be a 3 if Tempminot isn't particularly careful here. But yeah, realistically, those 2 girls were gifted on a silver platter. A silver saucer, perhaps.
Yeah, one might say. And I mean,
Say
I gotta
that
be honest,
again.
this Reaper has been absolutely dominant so far. Basically already farmed up this Death Blossom in one fight. There's no way that low ground main is ready for a Death Blossom to come out already. So this should be a pretty free ultimate if you can get this Diva out of mech.
Yeah, but if you get the Diva out mech, that is the key here. But yeah, you're able to hold these short angles. That's exactly what the Reaper excels in. And when a character like Soju or Torb don't have the opportunity to peek, they are just dead meat. That being said, that's some dead meat right there, and his name is X69. Rally is out from Saucer to try and confirm the fight. So maybe...
Well, you know, I gotta be honest, that's... No, I mean, just let it rip, honestly, when you get it that quickly. You managed to force out at least the rally out of low ground main, but now they've built up to basically every other ultimate. But with that being said, Fellowship Esports getting relatively close to their ults as well. They have the sound barrier, which I think is going to be important, at least for this fight, because you're going to have something to deal with Pred's overclock. They've been really dominant on this Sojourn so far.
Oh! Yeah, maybe you don't even need no clock when your Torb is just able to do Sojourn things with that left click. Generally helps, and now High Ground Main are doing very well for themselves. They have an orbital rate as well. Good.
Oh, and Pred getting that stagger kill out onto Tempminot is massive. It's going to make this be like last fight touch territory. We're going to have like this last moment touch, probably from Gomeni, honestly, on this Sombra. But again, you still have the ultimates. You have the ults to take this fight. You just need to not get poked out so early.
Yeah, but now you're not going to have an EMP to work with. That's been pretty solidly. Orbital Ray from both sides, as a matter of fact, but High Ground Main definitely getting way more purchase there. I mean, Teriyaki able to live through all of this, and an initial early cap for Fellowship Esports. We thought this could be the start of some kind of turn. It was not to be. High Ground Main taking our first point, looking incredibly strong thus far.
No, I mean, they're really dominant, quite honestly. Kind doing it again, just this time on Torbjorn. As you said, having that Sojourn level of aim with these little projectiles and just landing shots across the map over and over again. If you're Fellowship, you do have your EMP, but, I mean, oh my goodness, Kind getting another first kill right there. Just dominant play from this Torb right now. Oh my goodness, Pred taking down Lil Lucio with that rail shot as well. And another easy fight win coming through for low ground main right there. I mean, wow, I'm just so impressed by this Torbjorn right now. What are you thinking, Edgar?
It's getting a lot more value, though. It makes sense on paper looking at comp with, you know, the Sombra, the Reaper, the Winston, all things that a Torb can deal with pretty handedly, provided you're able to keep them at a little bit of a distance, just a little bit.
I mean, there you go. Pred getting another kill with this overclock. I mean, just cannot miss right now on this rail. Pred.
Yeah, that's just freaky. That's just freaky. I mean, we've been singing kind praises this entire time, but we also have to give credit to Pred where it's due as well. 70%. I think Fellowship Esports is going to struggle to even get a good touch here and over. Sides that Sombra no longer the play. Genji, a little more mature option, something that maybe your father would approve of if you were to say go home for dinner.
No, absolutely. You can at least be respectable there with that pick. And we are getting the touch out from Lil Lucio, but they don't have Primal, so I don't know how long they're going to be able to stay on this point like this.
I mean, X6O's on the side. The Blossom is good, but I would argue the Rally is even better. And you can see this Winston from Fellowship is just having, you know, the absolute worst time right now. He's really, really struggling here. Yes, you pop out the mech, and X6 could be trying to turn things here, but Saucer, again...
Yeah, Saucer doing just enough to stay alive there on that Brigitte. And I mean, that Inspire is just so much healing right now.
It's getting so much
All right.
value, especially because of how...
No, absolutely. I mean, Briggs AoE is 3 times the size of Lucio, so it covers a lot of space when you have that Inspire up constantly, as Saucer has been so far. Getting really close on that overclock as well. Overclock online, but Rambo does have the sound barrier able to counter that out if it gets used.
Yeah, well, there is the sound barrier, as expected. Comes out here, and Pred going to be ran down by Lil Lucio. Going to be putting those arms to good use. You haven't skipped Arm Day for a hot minute, and it's really cheap fight win as well. You're able to counteract the overclock pretty reasonably with that, and you're feeling good going forward here.
No, you absolutely are. You're gonna have the orbital ray available. Zeteriaki does not have theirs online just yet, so you have that advantage. And if you pop it and there's no real ultimates to counter it, you're probably going to build up to both your DPS ultimates as well, as close as you are to getting those, just by having that additional damage and healing. So I really like the way this looks for Fellowship Esports in this next fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Orbital Ray, as I say, just so deadly, and you're going to supplement it with so many other resources as well. In terms of high ground main, you are going to have an Orbital Ray of your own, but just less resources than that. But you are going first. Is this going to pay off? Not really, but I liked the idea. Conceptually, it was fun. Fellowship's gonna pop their ult into the mix as well. Bomb goes in. That was desperate. Is high quality swapping here, or was that just like the worst D.Va bomb that I've seen this side of the Atlantic?
I think that was a little bit of desperation there. I'm not predicting a swap, but we could see the Ram come out. All right, so here's the Ram, and the Pharah has made a return, just as we hoped it would. The New Junk City Pharah is out, people. This is going to be a tough ask, but you don't really have a counter for the Pharah if you're Fellowship. So, you know, unless this blade is just going to slice this Pharah out of the air, which I wouldn't mind seeing.
Dude, Fellowship are like screaming right now. They're like, I thought we'd killed you. Oh, okay. Well, actually, they have killed it. It's like that, like, I'll never make it this time. Oh, anyway, kind of situation. Gameni, exactly as you called it, slash him out of the sky. You are a real purveyor of the future here. And Fellowship Esports going to translate that into yet another fight win. Really coming back, making a big turn on New Junk City.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as they get that kill on Kind, they know they can just super hard aggress onto the backline, and that's exactly what they did. And here you go. You got the Annihilation. You have Blade. You have Sound Barrier as well available. Low ground main. All they've really got is the Rally, and that's not going to be enough to really sustain you through anything. You might be able to one-hit combo a Genji out of the air if you hit him just in time with that stun, but that's about the best bet you've got.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's some aggression from Fellowship Esports. They're getting confident, and I think if you're high ground main, you have to be really scared of that. A confident team is often just the best team, and Lil Lucio showing their showing their charms on the Uematra right now. High Quality's been phenomenal on the Diva, but hasn't quite made it work on the Rams thus far.
Not just yet, no. And I mean, I think a lot of it is this Reaper pick. Just having to run into this Reaper is so tough because you know that the follow-up damage is coming through with Fellowship, and you just don't have that same level of oomph. And here comes the Blade.
Ooh, took so much damage there, but that healing perk going to be wonderful. And overclock, what DPS ult did you think was going to win that exchange? X does decide to clip farm just a little bit on the members of High Ground Main. Is that going to be worth it in the end? I don't know. That was a big investment ult-wise.
That is a little tough, if I'm honest. I mean, we're coming up to last point right now. It's 2-2, and you would really like to have that Death Blossom available right now. Don't look now, but Kind does have this barrage online. You're going to have to make sure they stay alive in order to get it off, but it could be absolutely massive.
Oh, and that being said, High Quality this time makes it work. Does go down in the process. Juno and Ramatra are valuable for either team, to be honest. And now High Ground Main, they started this so strong, but they're trying to now adapt to Fellowship style. They're on their own Juno Lucio, they're on their own Ram. Like, they've even got their own close-range DPS picks, but Fellowship still win the point out off-rip.
I'd like to point out as well that 69 here managed to take Kind out of the air with the double shotgun shot. So that is actually apparently a really good way to deal with Pharah now.
Yeah, who would have thought? Fred, unfortunately, does suffer from being cast, the one character in this comp with no amount of like real mobility. But the rest of High Ground Main, the damage is already done. You did your bit for King and Country, Fred. We're all proud of you. Enjoy your time in the spawn room.
And here we go. This is where it gets a little dicey right here. You've got the ults if you're low ground main.
Fellowship used an orbital ray? Ooh.
Ooh, that is a tough one to lose. Kind probably gonna look for this barrage. I thought they were trying to be sneaky with the barrage. Apparently not. They're just trying to get some poke damage in here. Don't look now, but Gomeni is chasing this Pharah, and there it goes, the barrage.
Yeah, I mean, pressing Q to respawn isn't a new concept for Pharah players, but provided you can make a couple of the enemy respawn as well, you're generally not too sad, and Kind definitely got the better of that exchange there. Final fight territory, and look at what you have for High Ground Main.
Oof. You've got the orbital, and the orbital should help you build up that annihilation and sound barrier for Saucer. Fellowship does have their DPS ultimates though, so this is gonna be tough.
And Fred also opts to use this ult to zone. Rambo taken out of the fight. Fred 2 doing the work right now. It's the DPS of High Ground Main who are always going to come in clutch at the final hour when you really need them to. And the reverse sweep on this map is not going to be happening as High Ground Main take us to match point.
Oh my goodness, that was
Low Ground Main.
That was so
they're playing
close.
so well, I'm calling them High Ground Main, you know?
I figured you were just giving High Quality that respect, you know what I mean? So, I mean, Torb and Pharah coming out from Kind for all of this map. I'm still amazed at how well this Torb worked so consistently throughout this entire map.
We simply are not familiar with the ability of Torbjorn Lindholm, the GOAT, as per usual.
Apparently, my goodness. It's been so close, though. Both maps have been so close so far. You wouldn't guess that low ground main is just up 2-0 right now. This could easily be 1-1 or even 2-0 in Fellowship Esports favor.
I'm super impressed with Fellowship on that map. They showed great fight back, seeing how poorly they were losing on those points initially, and they were able to put some really good work, adapt their composition. I wasn't a believer in the Juno Lucio, and to be honest, I'm still not, but they were playing it perfectly. The entire idea of Juno Lucio is like, you can just sort of sustain aggression constantly. You aren't really... I mean, every comp is cyclical to some degree, but it's not like you have to play around a speed amp or a speed ring or a Sousa or anything. You can just kind of play around all the speed all the time, and you can have engages which, in theory, never stop. And eventually, low ground main realized this. They were getting kind of outpaced, and they were like, okay, we're going to try it ourselves. And it took them a minute, But eventually, once they were the kind of training wheels off, they seemed to have figured it out just in time. They had that big advantage from the first 2 points, and it worked out for them.
I mean, it absolutely did. They just kind of got overwhelmed by the speed and the pressure, but then once Pred was able to just sit back, land those stuns on that cast, start landing those shots more consistently, we finally saw them flip it on that last point and regain it. But again, I mean, this is a very close match regardless of what that 2-0 scoreline says. Like, this is very competitive, and these two teams are like this close to each other right now. Like, I can feel it. Fellowship is this close to taking a map.
It's like they're kissing, basically. That's how close they are together.
No, I absolutely agree with you. But with that being said, we are at our halftime break right now, but don't go anywhere. Like I said, this is a very close match. You're going to want to see what happens in this next map and potentially the rest of the series. You know, we could be seeing a little reverse sweep action, but stick around and we'll see that right after the break.
The Fellowship are in dire straits right now. Low ground main, their patented strategy of sitting on low ground and playing main. Just no ounce of macro, no ounce of strategy, just sheer raw aura. It's tour up in this series, and Fellowship are going to have to bounce back. They did try and Now, the manager, Lil Lucio, did try and come in and hit him with like a fine, I'll do it myself kind of moment, and they almost did. New Junk City was really, really close, but unfortunately, history doesn't remember who was close to winning. They only remember who the winner was. I'm Major, joined by Shadowfang, back from the halftime break, ready to see whether Low Ground Main are going to finish things off here on our final map, which is going to be New Queen Street.
I mean, you know, I can't help but notice a common theme here. These are all maps that have almost exclusively low ground against low ground main. I'm just saying, we have maps that have a lot of high grounds. You could try and force them into a different composition, but it honestly does seem like Fellowship really wants to play this Ramatra-based composition. I mean, quite frankly, at this point, if I'm Fellowship, I'm getting D.Va out of here. I don't want to see D.Va anymore. I'm tired of seeing D.Va. Like, get D.Va up out of here. Or get Pharah up out of here. You can do either one of those two. I think are super good picks right now. But anything else, I'm a little confused.
It really is like a please get that far out my face kind of situation. It's been causing so many problems that this entire series fell shit. Even when they were able to make it work on the second end of New Junk City, they had the Juno Lucio and they just played faster, and that's kind of the key against a Pharah, because oftentimes the best advice is just, you know, run hit scan and shoot. But if you're on like an enclosed map where Pharah has lots of like high ground cover to play around, you know, Pharah is better up close than any hit scan ever will be. Even a Cass, right? Like with that much cover. So that kind of relies on an open map, at which point Pharah's not being played anyway, because otherwise it's free. The alternative is just go super fast. And that's what worked last time for... that's what worked last time for Fellowship. They have banned out D.Va because, yeah, it's as you were saying quite rightly, please get that annoying Korean lady out of my face because she is causing me all manner of problems today. I hate her.
So I think this gives you the opportunity to just ban Lucio if you're low ground main. The Reaper makes sense too, though. Reaper was causing them a lot of stress on the last map in New Junk City, so just get rid of that. We can deal with the Juno Lucio. What we could not deal with was Juno Lucio Reaper. There is not a character that can duplicate what Reaper does, so I think that is actually that's an insanely smart ban from low ground main. They're like, okay, we'll play you straight up in the Ram composition. We're gonna keep playing our Pharah, but you can't run over our front line with this Reaper anymore because we're just not gonna. We're just gonna ban the character.
I'm gonna have a polite disagreement with you here because the Reaper was causing lots of problems. That was on New Junk City. This is New Queen Street. These are not the same maps, and I do not think a Reaper can get like nearly as much value on this map than he could on New Junk City. It's not that New Queen Street doesn't have enclosed areas, but like looking at this main bit, it's like where does the Reaper hold? Because you want to hold like short angles. There aren't that many short angles. Maybe in the initial stretch, like you've got the window which you can kind of peek in and out of, but the moment like you turn the corner, get kind of to that forward swan point, a Reaper is like less than useless in that situation. What are you going to do? Sit in the mini room while they're on high ground and just wave your fist at them and be like an edgelord and go sulk and then go to your room and listen? I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, they're gonna get the double shotgun perk and just kill them from halfway.
I see. I wasn't familiar.
That's the play. That's the play, right? That's what you got to do, right? But no, I do honestly think I think Lucio was probably the better ban there. But if you're gonna just ban the thing that was irritating you in the Reaper from last map, that makes sense to me too. And is kind going to be playing the Tracer this time. I hope so, because I'm always down to see some Tracer gameplay.
Ooh, technical issue. So you know like that meme of like the sweaty like gamer playing? So Kind was going so sicko mode the last few maps that like sweat physically got into the PC.
Yeah.
And now it's broken and you need to like replace the motherboard or something. So it is quite unlucky when that happens to our players. But yeah, Kind has been the standout of the match thus far. All of low ground main have really pulled it together, but Kind is... Yeah, I mean, you saw that 4K on... was it even 4K? No, it was a 5K on Lijiang on Gardens. And you're thinking, yeah, this kid is a freak of nature. And Fellowship, I like the comp they're playing right now. Because you can't quite see it, but we're looking at a Torb May, Ram, Lucio, Kiri.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really irritating for low ground main to play against, because initially it looks like they want to have a Pharah on their side. Sorry, not a Pharah, an Ana. I'm getting confused. I got them confused. They're related.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm a lore expert, what can I say? But like the Ana on their side, but the Ana realistically gets run over by that comp, and Anti is like just gets sued. Okay, so Ana doesn't do a lot. Cool. What about Tracer? You're fighting Tracer into Lucio Kiri backline and a Torb. Tracer's useless. So you're going to have to swap up the comps. You'll probably have to just put King on fire again. Because, I mean, I'm not entirely sure if... I'm not entirely sure why Fellowship necessarily banned D.Va if this was their play. I guess the D.Va just kind of enables the DPS of low ground main, and it really is like kind of on the DPS and supports to do something about the Fellowship comp. The tank is against a comp like Fellowship, where if you get into their jaws, they'll just snatch you up. Mm-hmm. You just have to distract, and make them spend their resources on you. You ain't killing a damn thing.
Yeah, this has to be some pitch perfect Winston play to not just instantly die every single fight from high quality. I think they can do it, but I think it's very difficult to do it. Because, I mean, look, Lil Lucio just inting right into the back line, taking down Fred.
Yeah, they all saw it. Low ground main, they were positioned a little too far up. I can only imagine that Pred either got caught in a vortex and wasn't able to slide because of that, or had used the slide to get into the fight and wasn't able to get it back. And some bloodthirstiness coming out from Fellowship Esports, starting off New Queen Street with a bang.
Absolutely are. I think low ground main is just going to have a really difficult time playing into Fellowship's comp with the comp that they have right now. You have to play this so perfectly, and it's asking a lot for you to just not goof any part of this comp up over and over again.
Yeah, like, what option do you have? You have to just sort of play main here if you're high quality. You've used your bubble, so those are your resources gone. Now Ram is pushing through, but falling really low in the process. Saucer just gets walked on there, not able to escape that enclosed environment. And Fellowship playing around them very, very well. Pred is kind of free in the low ground main comp at the very least, and actually you want to turn it, so you're going to basically hit Ram with what is the equivalent of like a stinging nettle, with that pulse bomb into a blocking Ramatra. And high quality is going to swap over, says Winston is no longer playing. Kind is back on the character. Yeah,
we do see the Pharah come back out. I like the Orisa pick here too. I think it's a really smart pick. Orisa very, very strong right now. You're going to be working at an ult disadvantage here. So, I mean, just look at Fellowship. They've got, like, 3 ultimates online right now. Torb getting very low. Kind finishing off Go Mini, though. This is going to be the go sign for low ground, man.
Yeah, and they're going to use they're going to use their ultimates to reinforce this. Kitsune Rush and a sound barrier just absolutely dog walk all over high quality there. And they were forced to expend some key ultimates to get the job done, but the job done is always going to be good nonetheless.
Absolutely, and I mean the tragic part there if you're low ground main is that Pred did use that overclock. You really would have wanted that overclock now that there's no sound barrier for it. But I mean still, if you're Fellowship, you have Annihilation, Blizzard, and Molten Core here. Saucer does not have the sound barrier online yet. You should be able to just kind of dog walk this next fight too if you time it out right.
Yeah, Saucer needs it, like, imminently, immediately even. That being said, the Blizzard was mostly cosmetic there. Kitsune Rush stabilized members of low ground main pretty well. Fellowship, at least they have good discipline. They recognize, they went for that ult gambit, lost one, but they didn't invest.
Yeah, great job there from Fellowship, realizing the fight was basically lost, so let's not waste anything else here. They do manage to, as you said, hold on to the Annihilation. They got the Molten Core here as well. Don't look now, but Kind does have the Barrage. And, I mean, you could even potentially combo it with the Orisa ultimate, you know, pull some people in, get that little mini grab action going on with the Barrage. I would like to see something like that, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good idea. Gonna go in, lay it down. The Kitsune Rush is perfect! Sorry, not the Kitsune Rush, the Protection Suzu. And Kind ends up just pressing Q to respawn there, killing themselves on their own ultimate. Tempt me not, absolute MVP timing there. Could sniff that play from a mile away.
I mean, that was almost a really awesome play from low ground, man. That was so close to being such an awesome play from those two. But like you said, Fellowship just ready for it. Lil Lucio still has this annihilation. Rambo has the sound barrier available for Pred's overclock, and Kind has swapped off the character onto another character. Kind just plays all the memeable characters, I guess, because they're on Hanzo now.
Yeah, Hanzo's an odd one. You can't really do a lot to mitigate pressure, and at the end of the day, like, you can be a good Hanzo, but a lot of your value, and I mean this in the nice way possible, is sort of just RNG at the end of the day. Like, you will fire arrows into the mass and clump of enemy players, and some of your shots will hit, and some of them won't. And sometimes you're going to get killed by a turret. You do have slightly better spawns here, and you have gotten a couple of picks for low ground main. So the point isn't going to go this quickly at the very least, but you know that Fellowship Esports, they're bleeding, but they're just going to make it as slow as possible, burn as much time as they can. And Kind is playing Mystery Heroes, literally no idea what to do, is on the Tracer now. That's how you know things are a little cooked.
No, absolutely. Kind just is not... No clue what they want to do right now. This Torb, you're going to deal with the Torb and Maze still. You still got to deal with that same backline that was a struggle at the beginning of the map. So it's like... I still am not seeing the vision here on the Tracer. I think there's much easier picks you could make right now. Pred getting that kill on Gomeni, though, is exactly what you needed if you're low ground, man.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. May ends up getting felled in that exchange, but High Quality is left up the creek without a paddle, and Annihilation from Lil Lucio is able to draw them down. And every time it seems like low ground main are able to make a little bit of headway, it just gets countered back at the last second.
I mean, these Torbjorns have been pretty good hitting these shots so far, I gotta be honest with you. And here we are. We got a Torbolt, we got a Molten Core available, as well as that Blizzard available for Fellowship. Low ground main does have a Kitsune Rush and a Sound Barrier, though. But nobody got caught by the last Blizzard, so I'm curious if Gomeni's going to manage to catch anybody this time.
Yeah, yeah. Please get something with this ult. It is the bare minimum that we can ask for. It's going to be used, and High Quality just explodes, and then Source uses the Sound Barrier after the fact. I mean, Fred needs to try and find something there. It was Kind at the end of the day, able to get the Torb out of the equation, deal with the Nemesis. Fred in desperation mode right now. You know that when your Soj is popping overclock, like 2v4, things are schmixed. But again, time is all you need, because your spawns are just so bloody close for you, and you're going to just use it. Use that time.
Kind is managing to get quite a few kills here on this Tracer, so they're finally getting some good value out of it. Still 120 meters though for Fellowship, and low ground main just can't win 2 fights in a row right now. That's all they need to do. They win 2 fights in a row, they can really start to get this going a little bit. But again, the ult advantage is just all in Fellowship Esports' favor for this next fight. You got double support ults and Molten Core available for them, and all you've got is the Terra Surge if you're low ground main. That's just, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Oh, it's going to be another Terra Surge and another spectacularly timed Suzu, and then a Molten Core, which is just going to... It's one of the few things which, you know, Urus has so much Shanghai, so much armor. Molten Core literally doesn't care about that. If anything, I think Molten Core is better against armor. And now High Quality's on the Zarya because everything's broken. Let's just throw things at the wall and see what's going to stick.
Yeah, we'll figure something out here eventually. They're still trading fights, but you're behind 120-7, so trading fights isn't going to be enough. You got to string multiple fight wins in a row together, and now you got to deal with a Kitsune Rush, and you don't have anything for that. So, like, as long as Tempt Me Not doesn't just die to just spam damage here, you should be able to get some good value out of it for Fellowship.
Yeah, and there's the Kitsune Rush. The boot away when Lil Lucio goes for the Annihilation, but the speed is good, able to get back into the equation here, but falling lower and lower. Again, it's another spectacular Kitsune. Tempt Me Not has been putting on a clinic in ability usage on this map thus far. Pred gets one, gets greedy, thinks, I want another, please give me all of them. And that's exactly what's going to be done here, cleaning everything up. Maybe the overclock wasn't needed, but your economy sure as hell ain't bad for low ground main. So it's a sacrifice you're willing to make.
No, absolutely. This is the exact scenario you want to be in going into this next fight here. It kind of sucks that there's only a minute left at this point, so you're putting yourself in a really tough spot. But you need to win this next fight with as minimal ult usage as possible, because like you need to get to this checkpoint quickly.
Yeah, and the longer these fights get extended for, the more energy that Zarya is going to build up and just become a one-man wrecking crew in the front line, peeling off of the back line with the bubble as well. You can see that Fellowship Esports are just trying to ignore this tank as much as humanly possible, but, you know, there's only so long that, you know, a wasp in your house can be ignored for before it, you know, gets in your sandwich and stings you when you bite into it.
And I mean, losing Saucer there is like the one kill you really didn't want to have happen if you're low ground main.
It's a late stagger too.
Yeah, the late staggers are absolutely massive, quite honestly. Saucer should be able to make it back in time with the sound barrier. Sound barrier is going to be very crucial for dealing with potentially this blizzard. And then Rambo needs to be good on this sound barrier to deal with High Quality's grab that's incoming here shortly.
Literally and figuratively, an uphill battle for low ground main. Let's see what you can get done with this time. It's not like you don't have the resources. It's not like you don't have that attention. Grab comes out. Wall is good, but the pulse wall even better. That actually gets Teminot out of the fight. Sound barrier from Rambo is pretty late, and Teriyaki's taken down. It's a late pick, but again, you don't exactly have luxury on your side here. You need that carry, and you need them back immediately. Yes, they get forward spawn, but you also get stagger spawn because of overtime.
Absolutely, and I mean, Pred is going to be key here. They're the only ult online for low ground main. Fellowship coming up on the Molten Core and the Annihilation. Lil Lucio has been really good with these Annihilations so far, so that's going to be the big key ultimate here.
Oh my god, yeah, Pred actually rotates to the enemy high ground with a Lucio in tow, but completely outfoxed and outmaneuvered. And members of Fellowship just run on the point with their Annihilation. They start it, they take the third map, and this could be map number 3 they take, maybe number 4, maybe number 5, and suddenly the entire game has slipped away for low ground main.
I mean, this is certainly step number 1 on that comeback if you're Fellowship. Like we've been saying this whole time, it's been an insanely close series. This has probably been the most lopsided of the maps so far, with Fellowship just being especially dominant. High Quality not able to play that diva on this map, and I don't know if that was particularly the reason, but I could notice a definite difference not having that defense matrix up all the time for your team.
Yeah, I mean, God, that was so clean. Oh my God, Teminot might be the MVP of that map, and you know, on support it can be very hard to like make your presence felt when you are just winning so many. I mean, but think about it, right? That was like a real momentum killer. You know, low ground main had decent ults, that they were making progress, they were advancing, they had time, they were probably going to get forward spawns like off of that fight or at least the next, and it gets stopped by one press of the E at the perfect time. It's absolutely spectacular, and loads of credit to Fellowship Esports for staying in this one, making things competitive. Now low ground main, you're looking at your options. I mean, you don't have control, you don't have push, you don't have flashpoint. You're gonna have to go to, and bear with me when I say this, a map with high ground. And I don't think they want that. It's in their name. It's like going to the gingerbread man and saying, we're gonna make you out of tinfoil today. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, hey, okay. Shambali Monastery is available. You can technically just walk it down main the entire time on that map, if that's the thing that they want to do. You know, that is still an option here. As far as hybrids go, you can always go King's Row as well. I think everybody likes King's Row, so I would never be mad to see that map come out here. But that's essentially what you've got right now in terms of maps that I guess don't have a ton of high ground, which is interesting because, again, we've seen a lot of Pharah, which is a character that can very easily take high ground. And we've seen them play a lot of Diva, another character that can easily take high grounds, like very consistently. And we're seeing the high ground map, I would say.
I'm sorry.
If this is the
This was picked by low ground. This was picked by low ground, man.
This is the high ground map of all the maps that we have. I would say this is the high ground map. We're going to Watch Point Gibraltar. If there was a map that I would just call high ground the map, it's this map. Like, honestly.
I think low ground main are committing sacrilege right now. We might need to call the Pope and just like be like, yo, there's a problem happening. We need this to be fixed imminently.
I don't think they decided a new Pope yet.
No, but I'm sure if you just ring the number, like someone will pick up. You know, okay. I'm thinking. Are they cooking right now? Sure. High quality likes the Diva.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity to play Diva here because it's already been banned out.
Yep.
I think you're comfortable enough with that. And Pred on like a Sojourn pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind on whatever the hell they want to be on, I guess.
Right.
At this stage, at this juncture.
Pretty much.
And that works for them. For a team called Low Ground Main, they are like actually pretty good at the Diva stuff.
You know, I gotta be honest, this sounds silly right now. I think you ban Winston here. I think you just make Fellowship play you on the Diva straight up.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that. Because like Winston is directly countered by Diva, but Winston comps can often perform much better than Diva comps.
Yeah.
So you eliminate the possibility to be outbound, and yep, there we are.
Mm-hmm. That
We're
makes
very...
perfect sense to me.
I was gonna
You're
say
making...
we're very clever, but you were the one that called it. I can't lie.
Well, it's you're forcing them to play you on your strength, right? So you can more so set the tempo here if you're low ground main because you play Diva, right? We're the ones that play Diva. You don't play Diva Fellowship. We play Diva. So we're gonna run this map right now. I think that's their general idea here. They're gonna force them into the hero that they think high quality is going to be better at, and that makes perfect sense to me here. And if you're Fellowship, I mean, honestly, I would probably ban Brig here. Like, just you know, whatever. Let's just make it a full on, all out, just brawl style fight, but with dive comps. Just get rid of Brig, get that out of here. Otherwise, I don't know what they might ban.
I mean, there's still the option of like Kyrie's been banned. I don't imagine Lucio's going to get banned because Fellowship, you kind of need that. It is, as you say, you're in a pretty predicament right now because you probably can't match them on the Diva. You can't play the Winston. So your option is like, okay, we're going to send our Ramatra to the high ground? That's cursed. That's probably the least worst option that you can pick because they're like, please get the fire out of our lives and out of our minds and out of our lobbies. But you can only do so many of those things at a time.
They were just over there rubbing their hands together like, yes, now we ban the Pharah. And then we're going to have them where we want them on map 5. We just got to get this Pharah out the way first.
Screw that one Pharah player in particular. That's literally what they're saying. Like, I hate you and specifically you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm really curious to see if Fellowship are going to take the Diva matchup, or if they're going to do something like a Wrecking Ball, or if they're just going to continue forcing the Ramatra and play it with like a Symmetra or something. You know, just force the TPs across the map, do some Spitfire style stuff where they just still play the Brawl comp anyways on Gibraltar.
Goat behavior should be noted. I mean, like, Sims allowed, right? You can play a Sim. Yeah. Would you be throwing? Possibly, but there also isn't a fire on the other side. Maybe this is like too cursed for like us to consider. But like, yeah, you could run the Sim here. They're not gonna run the Sim here.
No, they're just gonna run the brawl. Just gonna run the straight up brawl with the Reaper and the Sombra. And then looks like Kind's going to play Widowmaker. I don't think I had that on the checklist that we were going to see Widowmaker here from Kind, but I'll take it. All right.
Yeah, I mean, Widow is really good on this map just because you have so much open space to cover. I think if Fellowship plays fast enough, Kind is going to struggle to like get a good angle, but provided you play your distance properly, it's never going to be risk at dying, right? Like, yeah, Sombra can annoy you and harass you. Maybe Reaper will TP near you and be, ooh, I'm so spooky. But, like, you should just live here. The only issue I can foresee is, like, yeah, you can get harassed a lot, Fellowship can play quick, but already, Kind sees this comp, scouts it out, and it's just like, okay, I'm going over to this high ground instead.
I think the big problem here is going to be low ground main's point presence is going to be almost non-existent up against this composition. But if you manage to get some picks on this backline early, that's kind of what you're going to have to do. Because, I mean, look where this card is already. That's what you needed right there. Perfect kill from backline.
Yeah, and that's the sacrifice that you make. Like, First Shift Esports can push under for a while, but haven't cleared high ground. And Ana's still here, uncontested. To just be an absolute nuisance. That being said, you do need to keep your D.Va alive. You need to keep him healthy. Charge closer and closer to a Nandus while you still can, and then get yourself back on the point. Are Fellowship Esports just going with the we sit on the point until you guys die strategy? Because it's working really effectively. What?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that my ranked strategy was what needed to come into this game. I just do it with Reinhardt instead of Ramatra, though. But, you know, I'm with it. I'm with it. Just stay on the cart. You got to make us get off of this cart. And so far, low ground main hasn't been able to do that. And so now we're going to see Saucer actually go to the Zenyatta. So a Zen pick coming out here. I'm very surprised by this, honestly, but the Discord Orb can be strong going into a bunch of these heroes.
Yeah, provided you can play your range, provided that Sombra does not just eat you, like for lunch, as can be done. Good anti in the small room is going to allow high quality to secure that kill through, and the Sombra also proving to be a real thorn in the side of high quality. It's a fight win here, ultimately. Excuse me? Excuse me, young man? Saucer, where were you? Okay, finally you take down X6, and high quality dealt enough damage to get a mech back in that fight. You know, the story of where the hell is my Zen is one which will have to be read another day, I guess.
Well, you know, plus side, whenever Saucer builds up to that first perk, Saucer will be able to fly all around this map, and then it's just ultimate mobility Zen.
It'll be a flying saucer!
Oh, well, there you go. That's exactly what we needed to finish this map off today. We can roll the credits now. That's the end of the game, people.
Oh, but this is a great engage. The backline have been all caught out asunder, and they're going to be reinforced with the Kitsune Rush to just turn that Ram into a human battering machine there to take over all of this space from low ground main. High Quality's around and has the D.Va bomb to buy time for a recontest, but do you even want to do that?
Honestly, you could do it, I think, because Saucer's going to have this Transcendence online. So if you can get a couple of kills here, you can definitely flip this. But Gomeni managing to get Zed Teriyaki is not what you wanted to see.
Yeah, Saucer comes through with a Transcendence, but it's a little late. It's going to be the bomb popped in. Tempt Me not taken out of the equation now. It's a support duel, but Saucer puts the boots to the Lucio, says, get the hell out of my lobby, kid. Who do you think you are?
Oh, and losing the EMP there is the most tragic part, quite honestly. Because you could have came back in with the EMP in this fight and really just decimated the side of Fellowship. Now you don't have anything. And this is going to be a tough point to crack, especially if Pred manages to get a good pulse bomb off. They didn't, so that gives you a little bit more leeway here, but still, it's going to be a dry fight here.
Yeah, everything came out from every team right now, so we are looking at those individual plays, and we're looking at Saucer to be the GOAT once more. Wasn't a big believer in the Zen when I saw it initially, but you're playing your distance well. You're getting 3 in that fight. Goodness me. I'm thinking maybe Fellowship wanna play their own D.Va, or at least a Tracer, something that can try and... I mean, I say scale onto the Zen, but he's on high ground the whole time. Tracer can't really do that.
Well, I mean, I noticed too, like, at least for a large majority of that fight, High Quality was just kind of hard DMing onto Saucer right there and letting them get their free shots off. If you literally can't kill Zenyatta because Defense Matrix exists, I mean, here comes the vaunted strategy of we're just going to stand on point again from the side of Fellowship. What are you going to do about it if you're low ground, man?
Definitely a lot easier said than done. And you can see that just by the Fellowship kind of health bar Saucer's going to come in with the Transcendence as well to truly give reinforcements here. Sound Barrier from Fellowship, however, they see your support ultimate and they raise you with their own, another Sound Barrier. This time the duel does go in the favor of Fellowship Esports. Saucer is taken out of affairs right here, but there's still an Ana alive, and that should be more than enough healing to sustain high quality, at least for enough time for maybe... Do you need the nav? Great discipline there. Teriyaki actually holds a nerve, doesn't pop the nano boost. Fair play to you.
No, that was a great play, because I'm going to tell you right now, I definitely would have nanoed my D.Va at some point in the middle of that fight.
Too, man.
Oh, I would have let it rip at some point and just been like, oh, good, I can no longer be concerned about things. But this is exactly what I was afraid would happen when we saw that fight loss come through a little while ago. Now you're sitting here, low ground main has 4 ultimates online. Fellowship does have a Kitsune Rush. They got Annihilation, and they're pretty close on this Death Blossom, but that's about it. Kind getting that Nano and Overclock out.
Saucer again. High quality gets EMET, but doesn't care, because you're just going to drop a bomb onto the point. 30 seconds left. If you can get these kills out slowly, I think X just got down Mr. Presidented the Ramatra, but it was all for naught there. Fellowship going to be sent back to spawn. They have one more opportunity at a recontest. What tools they have to do it with, however? Absolutely zilch.
Nothing whatsoever for either side, for that matter. And the way we've seen Saucer just getting these kills constantly on this Zenyatta, I would not be surprised to see Saucer open it up once again. The D.Va does come out from Lil Lucio, though. They have conceded and managed to swap off of the Ramatra. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try and stuff low ground main back, you're doing that pretty well. Saucer has to be really scared now of, walking, playing the game in all of this chaos, because low ground main are so unable to push forward. Pred ends up getting taken down, and Saucer's built up to another Transcendence. The guy's an absolute just freak on the Zen, able to pick Lucio out of the fight, but eventually the numbers are just a bit overwhelming for Fellowship. The D.Va swap definitely paid off. Even if Lil Lucio didn't get the kills, they just created so much pressure, zoned so much space.
Yeah, it's just having the defense matrix, like you said, being able to go in and out constantly, just swerving in and out of all that damage and healing. And yeah, now we're looking at a pretty even fight here. Rambo's got the sound barrier online. Kind about to come up on that overclock once again, as well as Zed Teriyaki getting close on that nano boost. Gomeni does almost have that EMP as well online for Fellowship Esports.
Yeah, and you can see Lucio just gets discorded, gets shredded. There are some things which will never fade in life, and that being a tank's utter hatred of that Discord orb. High quality actually getting really, really cyberbullied here. Kind, fortunately, doesn't take too kindly to side. I mean, I say don't take kindly to cyberbullying like that, but then eventually gets killed just on their own right before Saucer is able to finally clean up that pesky moth that's been living rent-free in the backline for the entire fight.
I mean, don't look now. Saucer's basically at another Transcendence. They're just building this ult like 24/7. It's like every other fight they've got this thing online. It's just a really dominant performance on this Zenyatta so far. Like, I gotta shout out the Flying Saucer doing such a great job right now.
Ooh. Yeah, good anti. He's got to force a quick Suzu. You're going to get that back very, very quickly on account of the Kitsune Rush here. And high quality, trying to contest the point with that in your face is a problem. You do come up on this. D.Va ultimate. You're kind of going to have to use it just to get yourself back into a meta. Little Lucio, you took damage from that, my guy, and you might get demeched for it, to be honest, because Fred has come through, taken out Rambo. Saucer used the Transcendence, but to be honest, it was just to touch the point. Kind thinks that they are the GOAT, and high quality, despite matrixing off as much of that reroll as possible, still ends up finding the value. Fellowship Esports managed to finish the map. That's surprising.
No, absolutely. Getting that D.Va swap out there was all that you really needed. Like, it gave you the even trade on the defense matrix. That's really what was missing, right? High quality was having the defense matrix to defend Saucer and Zed Teriyaki back there, and you didn't have the same defense matrix to try and stop things like this from happening, right? Saucer popped off significantly less once the D.Va was on for the side of Fellowship Esports, and that's just simply because of the fact that you constantly had defense matrix to not only put on top of Saucer, but just protect like your Reaper when they're going for a Death Blossom. You know, just make sure your DPS are getting that high value that they possibly can.
I can't imagine it's also just screeching right now. Like bro, I killed 2 every fight. How are we losing that? I mean, like, you look at the stats that they speak for themselves. This is not a, Fellowship finished the map type, like, stat line. You feel me? But they manage it anyway. It doesn't matter about the number of kills you get, the number of fights you win. It matters how far you end up pushing that cart. You know, if you're able to squeeze every ounce of value, squeeze water from stones every fight, then that will work out for you. However, you did finish with nothing on the time bank. And low ground main, they definitely seem more comfortable playing this and are going to have a lot of luxury here, a lot of time to play with to work things out on their own attack round.
I mean, something worth noting here, Zed Teriyaki going to have a hard time positioning themselves early on this map. But just because you're not going to have like the Symmetra or anything like that to just teleport you across, get you to that opposing high ground that you really want to be standing on. High quality already low on this D.Va as well.
Just getting chunked down there in the front line. And you can see it's a lot harder to just play this style on the attack. You kind of flex the virus back. That is crazy work. Deflecting the virus back at the Sombra to eliminate them from the fight. Says, yeah, how does it feel when we do it to you, loser? But, like, again, like, the high ground main, you're just sitting... I know that you guys called low ground main, but you are, in fact, just sitting main against a Ramattra. I don't know what you really expected to happen. Kind of in a predicament here. In the corner, stuck between rock and a hard place, and by rock and a hard place I mean Akiri and a Lucio. But it ends up being felled eventually. Will Lucio, however, just forgot that the backline was busy, I guess, and went in, and then Pred kills him. Well, this is some intriguing gameplay thus far.
I mean, you're getting a lot of cart push here if you're low ground main. You can't be too mad about it. Pred basically built up to this pulse bomb. That's the only thing really online just yet. So hopefully Pred can be big time with this pulse. Help their team get a quick cap on this first point.
Oh, slept. Almost blown up on the engage, but the rate is just good enough to get you out of the affairs here. Kind falls into the loving, waiting arms of Fellowship. They say, hello, good sir. Thank you for gifting that one over to us. And X6, you think you're a Winston, little bro. No, you ain't. You're a Reaper. You get blown up when you try and TP in like that. Just get eviscerated from the fight. And now, again, Fellowship snatching, defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, as they've been accustomed to doing a lot in this game, but they're doing a good job of, as you said, just kind of sitting main and hoping for the best. Out comes the Kitsune Rush, though. Dueling Kitsune Rushes and Sound Barrier. Nano Boost comes out as well onto high quality.
Bro, this Ram is just running! Where's my guy going? There's nothing there! There's nothing there, bro! I'm sorry, I'm just losing it. I'm like, imagine I'm like the Fellowship backline, and I just see my Ram running into Narnia, like, where are you going?
I just imagine the way you said that. The way you just said that, I just imagine it being like, I'll go get him over there, boss. I'll go get him over there. And then he turns around, he's like, I don't know where he went, boss. I lost him. I swear he was over there somewhere. I don't know where he went.
There is a fine line between aggression and, like, running at the enemy positive and then running at the enemy, like, derogatory. And that was pretty derogative right there. Saucer ends up playing super aggro and gets felled for it. King is traded out by, unfortunately, spending a little too much time close to the Reaper. Not generally where you want to be playing. So low ground main going to have to go back to drawing board for a moment.
And it's a tough spot to be stuck in as well because, I mean, look at that ante coming out, though. What a great ante.
Oh, but they bait the engage and then they time the EMP perfectly. Annihilation in as well. Good ante from Teriyaki. Arguably, one ante was traded for two ultimate. Win for the fight, win for Fellowship.
Absolutely. You're not mad if you're either team right there, quite honestly, because you didn't really have the time to build up to anything if you're low ground main. And if you're Fellowship, you needed to get a good ult combo off. Just make sure you secure that fight as quick as possible. Pulse Bomb comes out, though, and gets Rambo. That's got to be the go sign if you're low ground main. Push on somebody here and get another kill. There you go. That's exactly what we needed to see here. Nice cleanup coming through for low ground main. Should be able to get some nice cart progress here on point number 2.
And that was another spectacular that came out. I mean, like, Teriyaki is in a tough spot, but these antis have proven to be very impactful. You know, even when there's a carry that suits them, you are at least, you know, forcing out the Suzu and not because Exa just killed both of the backliners, as you do. Pretty simple and nonchalant and even elegant as that. But no, as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by X killing 2, Teriyaki, provided that you can have a handle on the positioning, these antis are still good. But getting into that position, harder, very hard to do.
I mean, oh my goodness, you got double support ults for both sides right now, right? So if you're low ground main, you need to have a good engage here because, again, we're down to a minute left right now. That's exactly what you need if you're low ground main, quite frankly. Just get this cart pushed up and through without having to use much of your resources.
They think that this could be the play, and they do end up losing their out, and suddenly, all the members of Fellowship Esports have just been turned into nice slices of sashimi, fresh on the plate of low ground main.
And, I mean, that's what you gotta do, though, if you're low ground main. You gotta make sure you catch this point. Keep it going, you know. That is certainly one way to catch out an invisible Sombra right there. This is why I constantly just hold down the trigger, right? If you're just constantly holding down the trigger, you just run into stuff like that. And that's what just happened right there. Maybe Kind... We need to check Kind's PC, maybe, because that was kind of wild.
Kind of good player, but it's not normal, so someone check him PC. This also goes over to the Zenyatta once more. Provided that you don't, like, instantaneously just eat, like, crap against the Sombra. This works, again, we saw Sorta get a lot of value out of this pick earlier. Gonna make Lil Lucio's life a lot harder without being able to close that distance. But what's one good way to shut the distance? An EMP. All the enemies not being able to use their cooldowns generally helps.
No, absolutely. Kind getting a second deflect of the virus and getting a kill. I don't know if I've ever seen someone get one of those kills, let alone 2 of them on the same map.
If I had a nickel for every time it happened, I'd have 2. Which is odd, but it happened twice for some reason.
It's just very, very odd that happened 2 times. I'm still kind of sus about that. You gotta watch this Death Blossom, though. Good defense matrix coming through from high quality. You'll love to see that from your diva.
Yeah, that's just that's the fundamentals of tank gameplay that you need, right? What ults they have? Can we keep a lock on it? Can we their power? And the answer is yes. And honestly, you win the entire fight for it. And you're gonna have a Nano and what? Who here? Lucio can buy time. Remember, if this gets like late in the fight, then Fellowship won't have the luxury of being able to leave the point. But right now, it looks like they won't even have the luxury of being able to play the game. Again, great defense coming out, and it's a transcendent on account of the blade that has come out, and the Kiri went in a little too deep. There's the bomb there. Is it going to get anything? Surprisingly not, but we're only 5 seconds left on the point. High Quality is going to worm their way back into this one, and this Ana is running for the hills, but the hills have eyes in the back of X's head for the time being. And yeah, you're going to get felled on the point. Bomb going to be worth absolutely nothing. And Fellowship Esports, they didn't want to make this a short one. They didn't want to make it easy for us. We're going to a map 5.
It's the only way it could have gone, honestly. Like we were saying after maps 1 and 2, these teams were so close to each other in terms of talent and skill level. And what other way could it end than by going to a 5th map? Shout out Saucer for this Zenyatta play. Across the entirety of Watchpoint Gibraltar, they absolutely popped off on this character, just hitting shot after shot after shot. But it was Fellowship in the end taking this map from low ground main, who took us to a map that was almost entirely high grounds. So, you know, I was surprised by that.
Yeah, that's called Aura, kid. Yeah, you low ground main, go to Gibraltar in Fellowship. yeah, and low ground they're rolling quite a lot, even with their the Reaper, very unorthodox pick, should not be working on a map like Gibraltar, but X is just making it work. It's not like they don't try, and it's not like they don't try and come back with some of that Zen for the strong. It's because I'm trying to think of like what low ground main could be doing differently right now.
Yeah, it is a tough. It is a tough spot for low ground main to be in, quite honestly. I mean, maybe on that last map, I personally feel like Saucer could have done a little bit better playing like Brigida or something like that. I think that would have deterred that Reaper quite a bit more than the Zen did. It kind of just invited the Reaper to come in, try and get those kills as much as possible. But I mean, low ground main gonna have another map pick. It's gonna be hybrid. But with this being a map 5, we're going to have a second break now. So we're going to go to a short intermission here, but you're definitely going to want to stick around. It's a 2-2 series. We don't get these map 5s very often, but we're having one here tonight. And we're going to see who's going to take this between Low Ground Main and Fellowship Esports right after we take this break.
And much like a Fellowship, they've managed to bring themselves together when it really mattered. I am Egta, joined by Shadowfang, map 5. Oh my god. I ain't seen a reverse sweep in a while. I can't lie. Like, even when I see map 5 situations, it's very
true.
back and forth, back and forth. But like, no way that Fellowship win. And then, you know, New York City's kind of close, but Low still seem in charge. Like, okay, cool. Fellowship like an entire different team. Everyone's firing on all cylinders. You know, X has been dominant on the Reaper. Tempt has been well. Literally land map-winning Suzu after map-winning Suzu. It is spectacular. Now, Low Ground Main, all out of sorts. They're looking for their one hope, their one destination and savior that they can use to hold on here and keep themselves in that top bracket. And it's going to be on Kings Row, because of course it's on Kings Row.
Yeah, I mean, what other map could we finish on but Kings Row? Best map in the game still, at least in my opinion. And we are going to have some bans here. Low Ground Main continuing to have that first ban. It's going to be very, very critical that they make the correct ban here. And, you know, if this is me, right, I'm personally probably just going to ban Ramatra at this point. Like, just get the tank character out of here. Not that I don't think that Fellowship can play other tanks or anything like that, but I want to see them on something other than the Ramatra-based composition, because that's most entirely what they've played for this whole series. Lucio, another valid pick, though. Lucio, another valid pick.
Yeah, because that kind of just pseudo... It means that, like, all of the play, but it kind of messed up the enemy team for playing an actual rush style, because a Lucio is almost mandatory. If you still want to run that, you need to play a Juno. It's as simple as that. And Juno will be available to be played, but it does force you into some tricky situations. You know, we saw some success on the Juno Lucio earlier, the double speed composition. That's not going to be in play. Lucio Kiri, your standard work, just not going to be a thing anymore. Juno Brig, that can be the only thing I'm thinking, but these teams have been surprisingly reluctant to play Brig. You know, they'd rather play a Zen or Kiri or Ana or anything aside from Brig. So I'm interested to see what Fellowship going to be. It's a really big deal whenever it gets banned. Like, you really need to think about.
I could be a crazy person here, but you know, nothing's really been bothering you so far. So just you could almost ban like an Orisa or a Malga here just to get rid of anything that could potentially deter your ramp. They banned the Ramatra. All right, I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm lost. I'm lost now.
We're all lost, dude. Running Ram? Okay. Not even just then not running the Ram.
Fellowship has almost exclusively played Ramatra for this entire series, and they just banned the Ramatra. Are they going to go play Reinhardt? Like, what's going on right now? I don't have an answer for this.
I mean, Ryan without a Lucio is throwing. At least on the attacking side.
But, anywho, it looks as though we are going to be going into the map here shortly. And we do actually have a substitution for the side of Fellowship Esports. So this is going to be worth noting. Lil Lucio has subbed themselves out, and Wolfie has come back into the lineup for that tank role. We're going to see them pop up here shortly. They're not on there, but just take my word for it. Wolfie is in on that tank over Lil Lucio right now. We had that little swap come in right at the last moment. Okay. And again, with the Ramatra ban coming through, I can only think that it's got to be Orisa.
King, don't know what to think, King.
It's got to be Orisa, honestly.
And like, don't call me a crazy person, because I know you're about to do that, but it worked.
You know what? What if they just play Zarya? You know,
what if they just don't play Overwatch and they just play a game of rock paper scissors in the middle of the match?
You know, there are mods where you can play Uno on. There are mods where you can play Uno on Overwatch. You know, that's on another option. We can just play Uno Watch.
I mean,
that's
but
a thing.
I mean,
That's a
yeah,
mod.
but like you could, but also everyone has Uno. It came free with your Xbox. Tell me what you don't. You don't. What you tell me you don't have Uno?
Please tell me that we're actually seeing Reinhardt. I would very much like to actually be seeing Reinhardt. Also, apparently Ram and Lucio are still available to be picked. So
yeah,
we're gonna scratch that. We're gonna roll that back. You know, roll it back about 5 minutes. We'll come back in just a moment once the bans have been fully implemented onto the map. I'm hoping to actually see Reinhardt though. What are your thoughts on that?
sure, I guess, because God is dead, and I noticed that I'm not really speaking properly.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. You're coming through. You're almost buffering, is the way I would describe it. Like I can tell you've said something, but then it comes through about 10 seconds later.
May talk.
All right. Well, I'm personally a huge Reinhardt advocate. If it was up to me, Reinhardt would be meta 24/7, and that's just what everybody would play all the time. So I'm always down to see some Rein, but Rein isn't quite as fun if you're not versing a Rein directly. That's part of the fun with the Reinhardt. And I already know low ground main is just probably going to continue to play this Diva comp. That's pretty much all they've played for the entirety of this series. And I just think Wolfie's going to have a hard time getting in on this Reinhardt if they're having to just go halfway across the map to even get within hammer range consistently. That would be my only fear here going into this map. And it brings up the Symmetra pick once again. Like, I almost think if you're going to play the Rein into specifically what low ground main has consistently been playing, I think you also have to play Sim Mei and just be as toxic as possible. Just teleport around the map, try and catch people out with these walls, and just slow people down enough for your Rein to actually catch them.
So is that the play then? Just be toxic.
I think that's gotta be your play. If you ban the Ram, right? So you don't have that as an option anymore. So I think, you know, I would like people to play, you know, some good honest Reinhardt here, but you can't do that into the Diva. In order to really get the Diva out of the way and out of the picture, you're gonna have to play something that makes your Reinhardt mobile. You don't have Lucio anymore. You're gonna have the Juno. The Juno speed ring can only do so much. But with something like this, with something like this being the case, you're gonna have to get in on Saucer. Some way, somehow, you're gonna have to make it to Saucer. That's the real diveable target here. I love the Mei of Gomeni into the Genji of Kind as well. You can just kind of get that spray damage off, slow up that Genji a little bit, just long enough for maybe your Rein to get a swing in. But you know, outside of that, again, you're gonna have to block. And then look, you have the Kiriko to prevent the antis of Saucer as well. So I actually really do like the thoughtfulness that's gone into this composition from Fellowship.
You say thoughtfulness, I say aura, and that's exactly what's going to be happening. So the Juno works here. When I think of Rein teams, I think of SR Peak Check in FACEIT EU. They do like to run the Juno, actually instead of the Lucio in a lot of situations. But unfortunately, they have some of the best players in the world and a back generally to help too. You can see that Wolfie just eats so much damage on the engage. High Quality does a really good job of spearing the Rein, trying to go forward. And yeah, basically, Rein is just better when you close distance. If you stop the Rein closing distance, the Rein is useless. The Rein is useless.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, Kind already swapping over to the Pharah. And what are you going to do about a Pharah with this composition that Fellowship Esports has? What are you going to do, right? There's not much you can do about it, and you're not going to be able to get through an Orisa quickly enough for the Pharah to not have killed somebody already.
Yeah, and they're gonna pop the wall in. Wolfie's gonna pin. Not the greatest pin I've seen in my life, and in the meantime your entire backline just dies, so it was ill-advised, and you can see that Pred is like so free on this high ground. Fellowship are just running to point, they have no regard for clearing height, and they're being punished for it. Wolfie hasn't even gotten 30% to a shatter.
Yeah, I mean, this Rhine has just not been able to really get in on anybody. That's what I was talking about before. You almost have to play something to get this Reinhardt somewhere, because you're just going to eat way too much damage before you actually cover any ground.
Please clear high ground. Okay, they put a wall. They put a wall to briefly, like, there was like a get away from the R wall onto Pred, which didn't do anything, because the wall broke, and then Pred just broke Rambo's head. Please clear high ground! Please! I sound like such a broken record right now. Please clear high ground!
I mean, honestly, at this point, you probably just need to speed ring inside the building. It looks like Wolfie has opted to just go Winston and say, all right, I'll clear high ground. I got this covered, guys. So this is what's going to happen now. You got a Kitsune Rush available, but I mean, low ground main has such an insane ult advantage right now. You could probably pop a Nano Barrage, get a lot of value here.
Yeah, okay, now they force low ground main into a pretty awful predicament. Torsa able to get the anti off, but ends up being failed regardless. Kitsune Rush to stabilize things here for the members of Fellowship. Low ground main have tools to work with. Should they desire it, another well-timed Kitsune Rush from Tempt Me Not, but it's not going to be enough that time to stop high quality, landing that spear in the ground and sending the rest of the members of Fellowship, putting them in the ground too.
And I mean, honestly, great fight
Wait,
there. That's an orbital ray from Zed Teriyaki. Is that in spawn? Where did that just happen? Huh?
That is in spawn. That was just a misclick. And because Fellowship have their own orbital ray, they are going to get ticks on a point for free on that account. Prey wants to turn it, and Kind also pops in their own DPS ultimates, and the damage is simply overwhelming there. Who needs an orbital ray? We have our DPS, and they're goated.
Oh, I mean, my goodness, that is a tough predicament to find yourself in. And here we are, last fight territory. Low ground main doesn't have any ultimates, and you're coming up on your Blade and your Overclock if you're Fellowship, but I mean, you're going to have to find an early kill somewhere. Otherwise, Pred's just going to do that, and now you're stuck in a 4v5.
Speaking of early kills, you got 5 seconds left, and now you don't have a Genji in the fight. Pred is freer than the United States of America right now. Like, Jesus Christ, and X has popped an Overclock just to get a cosmetic kill onto Teriyaki. 43% is all you get. And all of that Fellowship Esports coming together, power of friendship stuff was nothing because Pred just sat height and clicked on them.
I don't know what's occurred between the break, but I mean, Fellowship turned into low ground, man. Like, literally. Not like the team. Like, they literally just went low ground main the entire round. Never once cleared the high ground. And low ground main was like, oh, we're going to do something you'll never expect. We're going to sit on the high ground. It's going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah, they didn't even attempt to clear high ground, man. That's the bit that's getting me, you know? Oh my god. They didn't even try it. They did eventually swap over to the Winston comp, but it was kind of too little too late because at that point low ground main just had such a big stack of ultimates that they could work through. They even burnt their orbital rate in spawn, not on purpose, I assume. And they were fine. Yeah. They were completely and utterly fine. And Pred's going to go Sojourn again, and Fellowship are going to have nothing to contest it again, and Pred's going to get on height and is going to kill everything. I'm calling it right here. That's how it is.
You heard it here first, folks. Pred, high ground, going to get kills. That's what's going to finish off this 5-mapper right here. You need about a tick and a quarter if you're low ground main to finish this series off. Move your way up further into this upper bracket. Can they do it? Here we go. Pred has achieved the high ground.
Yep. Pretty freely as well. Is getting some pushback, but you can see the amount of pressure that's being exerted by this long-range presence here. And Kind ends up getting the headshot as well. Gomini going to be felled, and Fellowship, you tried so hard. You thought you really had us there in that second half, didn't you? Because we thought that things would be different, that Kind and Pred wouldn't just be decimating your team with shot after shot, bullet after bullet, going into your noggin. You're able to touch back onto the point just for a little bit, deal some damage, but ultimately, what is it going to be? You've got everywhere to look. You ain't got time, you ain't got space, you ain't got the health, and you ain't got the survivability either. Reverse sweep not going to be happening. Low ground main deny it in 5 maps to finish things off here in our upper bracket, sending Fellowship down to the lower bracket.
I mean, honestly, that's probably the strangest map of the 5 that we saw, and the most dominant at the same time, because I don't think either team was super dominant on any of the maps. They were all relatively close, and then map 5 just wasn't. Like, that was a crazy series, quite honestly. I don't know what to think of that, if I'm being completely honest with you. I would say, though, you're going to have to watch out for Fellowship on that lower bracket, because they seem pretty strong for the most part. Yeah, I would say 80% of the time in this series, they were really, really strong.
What about that other 20? What about that other 20?
We burn the tape of Kings Row. We don't watch.
It's just like proof, because like Fellowship played fantastic in many aspects, right? They really did, right? I want to give like special shout out to Tempt Me Not on the Kiriko. Really popped off on that. X on the Reaper getting value where a Reaper shouldn't be getting any. Just don't play Rhine, like ever. Not worth it. Like, no matter who you think you are, like, oh, I'm literally Cloudy, guys. No, you're not. Just don't play Ryan, ever. It's just like, well, I wish I had like a more pertinent analysis than that. Just don't play the character that loses all the time, and then maybe you win. And I genuinely think that had they not banned the Ram just out of sheer like questionableness, and then think we're gonna play the Rhine, and then as I've said over and over again, play the Rhine and then just refuse to do anything aside from walk onto point. Like, what did you expect to happen? You're just gonna die.
I mean, yeah, especially going into an Orisa. I mean, if you were gonna play Rhine, I would have banned the Orisa, because again, being somebody who likes to play a lot of Reinhardt, I think Ram is like it's a trick counter for Reinhardt, because you can swing on the Ram constantly, you can build up to your shatter, you can shatter the Ram basically for free, and everybody that likes to group up on the Ram. So I would much rather have seen an Orisa ban if they were going to play that Reinhardt the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, goodness gracious, that was that was absolutely unbelievable. Those have been the bans in the series, of course, very varied between all of these teams, trying to just get on each other's signature styles over and over again. But it was Low Ground Main who get to hold on to things here for just a little bit longer. We are going to be sending it over to a quick break, and when we're back, we're going to have a very special interview for you from some of the members of Low Ground Main. So don't go anywhere, we're going to be back shortly. Hello everyone, welcome back. We have just seen a 5-map slugfest between these two teams, Low Ground Main and Fellowship Esports. They both gave their punches, but in the end there were only one team left standing, and that was Low Ground Main. We are joined by Kind and Saucer from the team. It's a double whammy today, ladies and gentlemen. So my first question for you, Kind, is, so coming into this series, you've done well in the season, you obviously got through your winners round fairly convincingly, and so coming into this matchup, what expectations did you have? You know, was this like, how confident were you feeling? Was this a team that you felt that you were going to do well against, or was it something different?
Actually, felt pretty confident, and one of the reasons was literally the day before on one of my other teams, we scrimmed Fellowship Esports, and I didn't realize it was Fellowship, so we actually knew like all of their comps from the start,
Okay,
just because we scrimmed them the day before. So that definitely, because we knew they were gonna run out on Reinhardt, we knew the Winston comps and everything, so it helped us. That's why you saw me run out on the Torb, but we felt pretty good going in.
All right. Could definitely tell. Came out super strong there to start on maps number 1 and 2. What do you think was causing the big struggles on maps number 3 and 4? Because Fellowship really turned it around on y'all there for a minute.
I think it's just the classic, you know, you start messing around a little bit and then you lose a couple of fights and you think it's not that bad, but you still don't take it super seriously. And then when you don't really respect your opponent, and we did not really do that. We should have. They were much better than what we were expecting. But when you don't do that sort of thing, they sneak up on you, and they were really good at that Winston, that rush comp, and we were caught off guard by it.
Hell yeah! I mean, yeah, the Rhine at the end was difficult to watch, if I'm being honest. I think Saucer might be able to kind of expand a little more on that. How did you feel on that 5th map when you saw the Rhine come out? Were you just like salivating and like licking your lips and just like rubbing your hands together when you saw that?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, yeah. I mean, Faro was back on the table. You know, Rhine as a hero has very clearly defined weaknesses, and I think we're, you know, especially on King's Row, you know, every scrim block you play King's Row, quite often there are Rhine mirrors, so you get tons of practice against that, and I think we were just, you know, because we're so well practiced on that map and in pretty much any comp on that map, it was just easy to get back into that scrim headspace and not, you know, not second guess ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we banned Lucio. I still don't know why they played Ryan with the Lucio ban.
They banned Ram for some reason, which like I think the moment I saw that ban, I was like, oh my god, it's cooked.
And then, Saucer, I'm going to actually ask a question as well. What were you thinking on Watchpoint Gibraltar when it felt like you were just consistently popping off on the Zenyatta, but y'all just could not manage to secure that map time and time again? How were you feeling on that map? Because honestly, you were just killing it on the Zen on that map.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I think so. It's kind of the opposite of the King's Row situation, right? Because you don't have in any scrim practice against teams playing Rush or Brawl on it. So it's kind of like the London Spitfire original SSG Wombo combo, where you just don't scrim against it. So you get caught off guard, and fundamentals go out the window because you're just so used to the map being played a certain way. So I think we made some okay adaptations, but we really kind of like shot ourselves in the foot with Farah not being on the table. But, you know, they banned it, so it is what it is. And it's not like Farah's the only solution to that. Yeah, ultimately it was just no scrim practice against that particular comp and execution, and they, you know, they executed well. So.
Yeah, comms were dead silent, and like towards the end of the map, if I'm gonna be honest.
Whoa, speak for yourself.
Yeah. No.
That's when you know it's cut. There's just no talking. It's like, okay. I mean, congratulations on the win. You do get yourself further through this upper bracket, have sent your opponents down to the lower bracket, but I think that they could cause some upsets. That they were able to play you guys close. They're definitely, as you say, better than you expected, so all the credit in the world to them. Was there anyone that you wanted to give a shout out before we left off? Anyone that you wanted to thank or just give props to?
Salsa, you want to go?
mean, I don't know. Props to Fellowship. That was a super
It was a
fun
really
match.
fun, yeah.
They really leveled up the last time we played them. Like, the last couple times, it was not anywhere near this level. So they've clearly been really grinding that comp, and yeah, props to them. It was fun.
No, I'll shout out Pred because he wanted to be shouted out on stream. Yes.
Chicken jockey, vocal stem of the day.
Yeah.
It's not. It can't be a vocal sim if you're typing it, lads. I'm just saying that's how it is. yeah. So don't worry, guys. It's just my stim. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your win. Phenomenal performance from the both of you. We'll let you go celebrate with the rest of your team. And congratulations once more. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah.
You too, lad.
You too.
Well, how about that? You got teams leveling up all the time. I don't think anyone expected Fellowship to play it this close. Take them to map 5, play even like New Junk City. That could have gone either way. The first point on Lijiang was super close too. Like they've really stepped things up. So definitely good on them.
No, absolutely. That King's Row, like I said, just get rid of that tape. We don't need that anywhere. The other 4 maps, you played incredibly closely. Look back at it because, again, you still have to go through that lower bracket. You're going to have more opportunity. And then low ground main, I believe, is going to move up to the upper bracket finals, I want to say. I think this is, I believe it's going to be the upper bracket finals. And then if they win that match, they'll move on to the grand finals. I don't have the bracket right in front of me right now, but that sounds relatively familiar to me. But before we go, let's shout out the Kunoichi Cavalry once again. And we do have signups open at this moment. But again, the tournament does start tomorrow and is for this weekend. So you're going to want to make sure you get those signups in pretty quickly here.
And not just the Kunoichi Cavalry, but Copa America as well, going to be coming up in the middle of May. 3 languages and 4 regions of South America going to be fighting out to prove who the best players in the South American region are. Great opportunity. It's going to be all live on broadcast. Going to be an absolutely spectacular event. So make sure to watch out for that.
Yeah, we have a lot of events upcoming here soon, and I mean, keep your eyes peeled on our Twitch channel as well because we're going to be having games broadcasted hopefully every single day, but that all depends on when people schedule their matches and whatnot. But the goal is to have a match going every single day so that we can broadcast as much of the playoffs as possible. We still have a lot more to go, quite honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. We've always got more action here at CGL, so make sure you always stay tuned. You follow the bell, and I've frozen again. Okay, I'm back. Good. Make sure to get that notification. Make sure to follow so you can catch all the action. We got games coming out of our ears, ladies and gentlemen. This is playoff season. We are grinding non-stop to get this action to you. Of course, huge shout out to Rhino VOD and Hippie working in the background to get this production to you. Teams putting on a spectacular performance. Shadow for joining me today for a grueling 5-mapper and being incredibly handsome in the process. And of course, everyone watching at home. Thank you so much for all the support. And with that said, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.